Hey everybody at home, thanks for watching. And thanks to all of you who watched and shared my last video the other day. I've been actually quite overwhelmed by your response. So here I am again. I have a mat, I have 2 blocks. If you have those, great. If you don't, you can make do without. I'll speak to with and without them. You'll get started lying down on your back. Have your feet close to the front of your mat so that as you come to lie down, head is close to the back. Have your knees bent, your feet on the ground about hip width apart. And then take your hands and place them right down onto your lower belly and really close to the pelvis so that you can even feel in each hand one of your frontal hip bones. Close your eyes. And as you tune into your breathing, see if you can really feel the breath down in your hands, so that your upper chest is quiet, even the ribs somewhat quiet as you try to send the breath really deep down low. And then as you continue to breathe deeply in and out through your nose, add the subtlest little rock of the pelvis. So as you inhale, do what we call an anterior tilt, where the front of your hip bones move forward towards your feet. Your lower back feels like it's moving in towards a back bend, a little arch. And then as you exhale, do the opposite, a posterior tilt, where the lower back will press into the floor and the tailbone will curl up towards the backs of the knees. So to think about as you do this with your breathing, the way that you would start a cow pose, a back bend on your hands and knees, but just from the pelvis really moving, that's the inhale. And then the opposite of that, the posterior tilt, the tucking of the tailbone, that would initiate the rounding of the spine in a cat pose if you were doing cat and cow on hands and knees. And then exaggerate it even a little bit more so that it's not just the pelvis rocking as you do this, but also the lower back participating as well. So that there's a back bend and an anterior tilt just down low in the lower back as the pelvis moves forward, and a posterior tilt and a rounding of the lumbar spine as you breathe out. And then settle into a place that's right in between those two, neutral spine, where there's a little bit of lightness underneath your lower back. And with your hands still quite low, wrap your hands to the outsides of your hips and see if you keep your hips even from right to left as you lift the right shin up into a tabletop. Now can you only move the leg bone as you take the right ankle towards the left knee into a figure 4. Your pelvis will want to shift to the left, so leave your hands on your hips to keep them in center so that the outer left hip stays in towards the middle as you engage your right ankle, spread your right toes, and move your right knee towards the front of your mat. And can you do that while maintaining neutral spine? You can certainly stay here or lift your left shin up and take a figure 4, thread the needle where your hands may grab the back of your left thigh. And your lower back here may smush into the floor, so it's fine. It's not a wrong thing to do, but see if you could find the feeling of an anterior tilt. So think about your lower back being arched, even though right now it's pressing into the floor. Make it really active, trying to move the right knee forward away from the right shoulder, again, without letting the pelvis shift over to the left. So the left hip stays right underneath the left knee. Then release the grip of your hands, grab the right foot for a half happy baby, take the right leg out to the side, grab the left knee in your left hand, and just let your left leg relax out in this half floating Padahastasana. As you sit up half happy baby, if the foot's not reachable, grab the shin or even hook your arm around the back of the right thigh. But find a way to stack your right heel right on top of your right knee, as you would in half of a squat or the front leg of a lunge. And then feel free to rock a little bit side to side, and all the while looking to find as close to neutral spine as you can so that the lower back isn't being squished into the floor. If you find an interesting spot somewhere along there, you can most certainly stay. And then release the hand and the knee. Bring the left foot back to the floor. Take the right leg straight up and interlace your hands behind your right thigh. Use the hands as a boundary. So press the leg forward into the interlaced hands instead of trying to pull with your hands the leg towards your face. The left leg can stay as it is. Some of you may wish to extend your left knee all the way out straight. And then as you have this little resistance here between your hands pulling and your leg pushing, dorsiflex your right ankle so your heel points up towards the ceiling, your toes draw down, and do a few little ankle circles if that's interesting to you. Make them as big as you possibly can. And then do a couple in the other direction. Bend your right knee, release your hands, starting with both feet back on the floor with your knees bent and your hands on your hips. Without the hips swinging off to the right, lift the left shin into a tabletop. As you externally rotate the legs, the knee goes wide and the ankle comes in towards the midline. Hook the ankle to the knee. Again, the hips love to swing right on the side, so keep them in the center. Maintain neutral spine, or at least the effort of neutral spine. As you lift your right shin, lace your hands behind your right thigh. Keep the spine as long as you can along the ground, the shoulder blades as wide as you can across your back so that the front of your chest can stay open and you can continue to find the deep breathing that you started with, down as low as you possibly can. Actively move the left knee away from the left shoulder as the left ankle stays in a flex and the toes stay spread. Half happy baby, grab the left foot, grab the right knee in the right hand. So the right knee goes out to the side, floating Padahastasana. Left leg goes out, half happy baby, holding where it makes sense for you. If the foot hold lifts your head and your bum, hold your shin or clamp your thigh instead. Explore a little bit, side to side. Your left hand, if you happen to have your outer foot, pull down on your outer foot as you press your inner foot up. Bring your knees back towards center, land the right foot. As the left leg goes straight up, lace the hands behind your thigh and press the thigh into the hands as the hands pull against the thigh so that the hamstrings are also working. If your hands weren't there, your leg would fly forward. If you did on side one, straighten your right leg out for side two and then circle the ankle, couple rotations in one direction, and then switch. Then bend your left knee, bend your right knee as well, so both feet land again. Arms down by your sides. Have your stance a little bit longer than you would for a bridge pose, as you plug your feet down and your arms down. And then press your whole back into the floor, even your lower back so that you start a posterior tilt, a little rounding in the lumbar spine, and without any back bending. See if you can just do hip extension as you use your glutes and your hamstrings to lift your hips up. Pull your feet strongly back towards your shoulders, so that your hamstrings are working as well. Resist the temptation to create a big back bend and just use your legs to lift your hips higher. And then reverse that, round yourself down so that bone by bone your spine eventually lowers. Can you get your lower back on the floor before your butt bum? And then reach your right arm over your ear, bring your knees into your chest and roll over onto your right side. Come on up and take a seat. Take a cross-ankled seat. Start with your right shin in front of your left shin in Sukhasana. So different from Siddhasana where you try to bring your feet in real close. We'll start like this instead. So right in the middle of your shin bones so that your ankles and your knees are quite close to being in line. Take your hands to start just behind you and use your two arms as extra pillars to help your spine lengthen upwards. You're welcome to close your eyes. And as you allow your lower body to sink down and plug you into the ground, rise up from the base of the spine. And find the stability that is needed to hold yourself here through your trunk as you reach your arms all the way up towards the sky. Take a deep breath in. Lower your right fingertips as you exhale and side bend way over to the right. As you inhale, come back up through center, lift both arms. Switch as you exhale over to your left. Keep your right hip plugged in and heavy. Come back up on your breath in with both arms. Then fold forward as you exhale and reach your hands way out in front of you onto the ground. Grab the floor, pull it towards you. Take a halfway lift as you inhale, look forward. Then fold down as you exhale, let your head go. Roll up to sitting, slide your fingertips behind you into a little seated back bend. Open your heart, lift your gaze. As you exhale, grab your knees, lean back and round your spine. Look in. Again, arms up, breathe in. Right hand down as you exhale, side bend. Center on your inhale, lift both arms. Switch, exhale. Rise up, breathe in. Fold forward, breathe out. Grab the floor as you pull it towards you. Inhale, lengthen, halfway lift. And then fold and breathe out. Roll up, slide your fingertips behind you and back bend. As you exhale, grab your knees and round your back. Sit up tall as you breathe in and then cross the shins the other way as you breathe out. Just find again the stability of your upright seat, plugging down through the legs, going up through the spine, and then same thing, arms up, breathe in. Start left hand down this time as you breathe out. Center, breathe in, and switch, breathe out. Rise up, inhale. Fold forward, exhale. Halfway lift, breathe in. Fold and breathe out. Roll up to sitting, fingertips behind you, inhale. Grab your knees and lean back, exhale. One more time, inhale, rise up, seated sun salutations. Left hand down, breathe out. Center, breathe in. And right side, breathe out. Back up, inhale. Fold forward and exhale. Halfway lift, breathe in. Fold and breathe out. Roll up to sitting, fingertips behind you, inhale, chest up. Grab your knees, exhale, lean back round. Rise up to center, lift both arms, take an inhale breath, and stay in center. Bring your hands to your heart as you exhale and close your eyes. Just pause right in the center. You feel your legs heavy, your spine light, and your chest broad, and your breath full. Let's exhale together, sink the breath. Take a deep breath in where you feel your rib basket expand 360 degrees. And as you exhale, release, deflate, contract. And keep that breathing going as you release your hands. Open your eyes and make your way to hands and knees position, right near the front of your mat. Start to move the spine through cat and cow, using your inhales to create a back bending shape. Your exhales to round the whole spine. And see if you can really speak to the entire length of your spine as you do this. Your lower back and your neck, they love to back bend. So see if you can speak a little bit more to your upper back, your thoracic spine as you move into extension. And the same thing goes when you round your spine. See if you can really focus on talking to your lower back and getting a real posterior tilt going on to put the whole spine into flexion. After the next one, pass through a neutral spine, tuck your toes, and lift yourself up to downward facing dog. I love to use a plank as a measuring stick. So use an inhale to shift forward to a plank, and if you need to adjust the hands forward or the feet back, do that now. And then keep the foundation plugged in as it is, and lift your hips back and up to downward facing dog. Give the heels at least a little lift, the knees a little bend, if not a big bend, and see how high you can lift your seat. So that the pose is really a reach from the hands plugging down to the sitting bones lifting up and all the space in between getting longer. Now take your right leg slowly, squarely back up behind you and bend your right knee, bring your heel in towards your bum. Without moving anything else, begin to circle your right knee and keep eyes on your left hip so that it doesn't move as you play with the biggest circles possible of your right knee. Nothing else is moving, everything else is stable as you circle your right knee. Do a couple circles in the other direction. Pay particular attention to the parts of the circle that don't feel so round or aren't so enjoyable, like when the knee is going way out to the right. And see if you can do that part of the circle with a little less speed. Then come back to straight and square hip. Straight leg, square hip. Look forward and step right inside your right thumb. Sometimes that takes a little assistance of the hand grabbing the ankle to bring it forward, so get it all the way inside the right thumb. Tap the back knee down, and leaving your hands down, lift your chest as high as you possibly can, like you were just dying to do an upward facing dog, but your right leg got stuck in the way. Allow the weight of your hips to sink, but find a real rise of your chest. And then how wide can you take your collarbones? How low can you take your breath? Some of you may wish to have the blocks underneath your hands as you transition towards a half split. Begin to straighten your right leg and shift your hips back. It's totally fine to move your hands as needed, so if they need to be here to support you, go ahead and do that. As you're on your right heel, spread your right toes, unlock your right knee if you're a knee locker, and drag the right heel strongly back until you feel your hamstrings working. Now find a little lift of the sitting bones so that you put the action of an anterior tilt into this posture, and you'll probably get a little bit more out of it. Slowly bend your right knee again till your right foot goes flat. Straighten your back leg so the back knee lifts off the floor, low lunge. Pull the front thigh back, the front foot back, as the back thigh pulls forward. The front thigh is going down, the back thigh is going up, and then the spine reaches as far forward as you possibly can, and the collarbones as wide as they can go out to their own sides. From here, begin to straighten the right leg slowly, and this is again where hands on the blocks might be useful for some of you, as high as you want to. You have lots of options on blocks. They can certainly be way up here, so you decide. If it's possible for you, flip right up onto your right heel. Lift your right toes and spread them. Dig your heel into the ground. Pull the heel strongly back, just like you did in the half split, but in this pyramid variation. Can you keep your spine long? On your inhale breath, bend your front knee back to a low lunge. Spin your back heel down for a warrior 2 foot, and come on up on an inhale with your arms wide in a T. Find the strength of your back leg as you lower your lower body down, rise up through your spine, and reach equally forward and back through your 2 arms. The legs stay unchanged as you reverse warrior. Slide the left hand down the back leg and reach the right arm up in line with your ear. As the root of your right thigh, the front thigh descends, lift the outer right hip up, grow the right waist longer, and reach the right arm as an extension of the waist. On your inhale, come back up through a warrior 2. Side angle with your exhale, right forearm to right thigh, left arm over the ear. Some of you may be happy with sliding the right fingertips down inside the right foot, but whatever is going on, the right arm and the right leg are connected and they press each other. And as they press, that gives you a little bit more leverage to turn your rib cage more up and even to look up underneath your left arm as your left bicep spins back behind your ear and your left pinky curls towards the floor. And as you look to the ground, lower your 2 hands, lift your back heel as quietly as you can, step into a plank pose. Pause in plank. For this one, place your knees down on the ground. Shift a little farther forward on your inhale breath. Use your whole exhale to lower slowly to the floor. Point your toes. Take your fingertips wide out onto the floor outside your mat. Lengthen your legs, so lift one leg, make it longer, do the same with the other, and then as you press the tops of your feet down, straighten your knees. Press your pubic bone down and drag it forward until your sitting bones lengthen towards your heels. With your elbows pointing straight up above your wrists, draw your shoulder blades together and away from your ears, and then roll up as you inhale to a finger stand cobra, headless last. Exhale, bring yourself down. Keep the fronts of the shoulders resisting the floor. Do that again. Roll up, breathe in.
Exhale, bring it down.
One more for now. Rise, breathe in.
Exhale to lower.
Narrow your palms for a low cobra. Inhale, use more back strength than hands. Press your hips to your heels like a child's pose. Exhale without moving your base. Shift forward on your inhale so the shoulders come over your wrists so that you can tuck your toes, and as you exhale, lift up, down, dog. Float your left leg slowly, squarely behind you. Bend your left knee. Now get eyes on your right hip, and without your right hip, that's the stabilizing hip moving, begin to circle your left knee. Only as big as you can without disturbing the stability in the rest of the body. Find the parts of the circle that challenge you. Slow down through those parts. And then switch the direction of your circles. Bring it back to straight and square. Take an inhale breath. Step as you exhale all the way to your left thumb tip. Tap your back knee down, and on your fingertips, lift your chest. Look up. Back knee and the front foot pull towards each other as you sink the hips, lighten the chest, widen across the collarbones. Deep breath in. Half split, shift your hips back as you exhale. Ardha Hanuman, come right up onto your left heel. Blocks underneath your hands as needed, or movement of your hands. Left knee is unlocked so that you can access the strength of your quads to lift your left knee, and then you add that drag of your heel back. The action of almost an anterior tilt. So try to lift your sitting bones up and stretch your spine farther forward. Low lunge, bend your front knee, lift your back knee to straight. Look forward, think in your chest plank pose. Front knee is bent deeply, back leg is super straight. Lift your right thigh higher. On an exhale breath, pyramid variation, straighten your two legs as much as they'll reasonably go. Blocks can certainly elevate your hands, and if you can flip up onto your left heel, do that here and pull your heel strongly back. As your left thigh bone pulls back, your spine lengthens forward. See if you can fold right at your left hip crease as opposed to just rounding the back to try to get your head down towards your leg. On your inhale, bend your front knee to land your left foot. As you exhale, spin your back heel down for a warrior 2 foot and come on up with your arms wide into a T. I like a stance of heel to heel with the right toes turned in just slightly so that your outer right hip can turn forward just a bit as you lower the legs, as you lengthen through the spine, and as you widen through the chest and the arms. So really think about the whole wingspan getting bigger. Reverse your warrior so that the right hand slides down as the left arm goes up. Nothing changes down below, but now you get a little bit more length for your left side. So breathe deeply into your left side and think of it really as a preparation for the next posture. So that without losing this space in your left side body, you come up on an inhale into side angle where the forearm comes to the thigh, the right arm comes up and over your ear. Some of you on the first side slid your left hand down inside your left foot, so feel free to do that here. As you root your left big toe base, your left arm and your left knee press each other. And then you spin your bottom ribs, left ribs more beneath you, right ribs more behind you. Turn your gaze up and reach right foot to right hand. As you look down, lower your hands and lift your back heel. Quietly step to a plank pose. Knees can be up or down. Take an inhale breath. Lower slowly as you exhale, all the way to your belly. Point your toes, slide your fingertips wide onto the floor. Roll up on your inhale, finger stand cobra. Exhale, lower down. One more time, inhale, rise. And exhale, lower. Narrow your palms, low cobra, breathe in. Hips to heels, breathe out. Shift forward, inhale, hands and knees, tuck your toes, downward dog, exhale. Get a deep breath in. Just settle as you breathe out. Lift your right leg, breathe in. Bend your knee and breathe out. Do a circle one way. Take a whole breath cycle to do it. And then for the next breath here, go the other way, full circle. Let's go straight and square with your leg, breathe in. Step forward inside your right thumb, breathe out. Tap your back knee down, inhale your chest up. Straighten your front leg as you exhale, half split. Low lunge, inhale, bend your front knee, straighten your back leg, look forward. Straighten both to a pyramid pose as you exhale. All the same shapes. Bend your front knee, breathe in. Spin your back heel down as you breathe out for warrior 2 foot. Rise as you inhale, cartwheel your arms up, and just settle and land as you breathe out. Reverse warrior, inhale, lean back. Side angle, breathe out. Just pause here, turn your chest more up and inhale. Lower your hands as you exhale, lift your back heel, plank pose. Breathe in, knees up or down, lower all the way down and breathe out. Slide your fingertips wide as you point your toes. Inhale, rise, one time finger stand cobra. Exhale, lower, narrow your palms. Low cobra, breathe in. Hips to heels, breathe out. Hands and knees, inhale, tuck your toes, downward dog, exhale. Left leg up, breathe in. Bend the knee and breathe out. Circle one direction. Use a full breath cycle to do it, as big as you can. Change the direction, one more breath, one more circle. Straight and square, breathe in. Step forward, breathe out. Tap your back knee down, lift your chest, inhale, hands stay down. Half split, straighten your front leg, exhale, shift your hips back. Low lunge, inhale, that means the back leg straight as the front knee's deeply bent. Pyramid pose, exhale, straighten your legs, come onto your heel, pull the heel back. Bend your front knee as you breathe in. Spin your back heel down as you exhale, warrior 2 legs, rise as you breathe in. Anchor down through your legs as you breathe out. Reverse warrior, inhale. Side angle, exhale. You're here for the inhale. Hands to the floor, exhale. Lift your back heel, plank pose, breathe in. Lower all the way down, breathe out. Spider fingertips and rise, inhale, finger stand, last time. Exhale, lower. Narrow your palms, cobra pose, any height, inhale. Hips to heels, like a push-up. Use strength to go back, exhale. Shift forward on your breath in. Tuck your toes, downward facing dog, breathe out. Stay as you are, inhale. And pause and exhale. Walk your feet forward, all the way up to your hands. Keep the feet hip width apart for now, and fold over your legs right at the top of your mat. Halfway lift, breathe in. Fold and breathe out. Rise to stand, inhale, lift your arms. Bring your hands to your heart as you exhale and pause. Take a deep breath in. Release your arms down by your sides as you breathe out. Surya A, reach up, breathe in. Forward fold, breathe out. Got a halfway lift, breathe in. Step your left foot back as you breathe out. And step your right foot back to a plank pose, inhale. And either lower chaturanga or all the way to the floor, exhale. Upward dog or cobra, breathe in. Downward facing dog, breathe out. 5 breaths. Lift your heels, breathe in. Bend your knees, look forward, step, step, or jump. Lightly to your hands, halfway lift, breathe in. Fold forward, breathe out. I like to put the backs of my hands on the floor for a little wrist stretch. Rise up on your inhale. I do that pretty much every sun salutation. Hands through your heart as you exhale and down by your sides. Again, reach up, breathe in. Fold in half, breathe out. Halfway lift, breathe in. Right foot back, breathe out. Follow with your left foot. Inhale to a plank pose. Half or all the way down, chaturanga, exhale. Upward facing dog or cobra, breathe in. Downward facing dog, breathe out. Heels up, breathe in. Bend your knees, look forward, step or jump. Halfway lift, inhale. Full little wrist stretch, back to the hands down, exhale. Rise to stand, breathe in. Hands through your heart and down by your sides, breathe out. One more time, reach up, breathe in. You can continue to step back if you like. Forward fold, exhale. Some of you may this time choose to jump right back, halfway lift, inhale. Step, step, or jump right into low push-up, exhale. Back bend, breathe in. Downward facing dog, breathe out. Take your feet a little bit wider and walk your hands back all the way to your feet. When you get there, turn your toes out and your heels in and come down into a squat. Bring your hands together right in the center of your chest and organize your arms to be right inside your inner knees. As you press with your arms, your knees wide, press back with your legs. And then can you find, again, as close to neutral spine as possible. This posture will tend to tuck the tail under. So can you even think here, think as much back bend as you possibly can. I think it's impossible to overdo that here in your squat. So your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to get from the back of your mat to the front of your mat on your hands. And that can be the tiniest little transfer of weight. Try to keep your arms super straight and push the floor. So that can be a little lean into the hands and a little lift of the feet. Or you will look forward, straight arms, push the floor, jump your feet off the floor a little higher, or a little higher, or even a little higher. You might even get a little hang time up there. And then put that little routine in reverse. So push the floor, kick your heels to your bum, and travel backward. And really think, straight arms, push the floor. Okay, one more time to get you to the front. Little frog jumps, or big frog hops, maybe some hang time. And then once you get back to the front, come back to a forward fold, heel toe the feet back to parallel hip width, and take the backs of the hands to the floor, outside the feet, on the blocks if needed, or some of you take your hands right underneath your feet into Padahastasana. If you're there, get the balls of your feet right in the heels of your hands so that your toes curl up, the back of your wrists. Bend your knees enough so your belly and your thighs are touching. Drop your head so it hangs. And if you have your balance, you can lift your right heel and dig your right foot around in the heel of your right hand. Then do the same with the other side. And then remove the hands from under your feet. Bend your knees, roll yourself up. Take a little side step over to the right so that you're organized right near the front right corner of your mat. Take your hands on your hips to begin. And remember being on your back and trying to keep your hips organized right in the center. Bend your knees so you're doing a easy breezy chair pose. Lift your right knee up. Now without your left hip moving, can you externally rotate your leg so your ankle comes higher, your knee goes lower, and then do figure four. Sit your hips low as they'll go, without your hips swinging over to the left. So keep the left hip hugging in as you sit down. You can stay here, you can use hands on the blocks, or I love to take
the triceps to the front of the right shin bone, the hands in prayer, and pull strongly the arms back as the shin pushes forward. And then can you find length in your spine? So lift your sitting bones, pull your chest forward, and breathe deeply as if you had lungs in your hips. Now lower your fingertips to the floor and slide your right ankle down the front of your left shin until your ankles are crossed. You're in this strange cross-legged fold. The pressure of the right calves will tend to lock out the left knee. So push your back shin really strongly forward as you pull your right calf back. It's totally normal if your right heel does not touch the floor. So your right foot is probably right around the center of your mat. Keep that there. Bend your knees and step your left foot all the way back. It'll feel a bit tight-ropey to begin. That's totally fine. Strange pigeon. Roll your right knee open so that you're on the outer edge of your right foot. Different from pigeon in that your shin is not on the floor. So it's sort of like the right leg was in this lunge that tipped over. Make sure your right ankle's strong. So look down, and if you're sickling on the inner ankle, you're probably collapsing into the outer ankle. So can you encourage the right inner foot towards the floor even though it's off the floor? Now pull strongly your right hip back, stretch your spine forward. This can also be done with the back knee down, can also be done with the hands wider, and even moving a little bit side to side can be really interesting and a little bit more dynamic. So up to you. There's a few breaths here to explore. You should feel this in your hip, not your knee. And if your hands went wide, bring them back in close. Bring your right foot back to flat and straighten your legs, even though it feels tight-ropey. Then take your two hands and take them both on the outside of your right foot. You can stop anywhere along the way, but as you start to turn towards the right, turn all 10 toes to point towards the right so that you come into this really weird cross-legged, wide-legged forward fold. It's very much like Gomukhasana, but floating. So bend both knees, especially the top knee, the right knee. Lengthen your spine and wag your tail towards the front of your mat. If this is plenty for you, stay here. If you want a little more, get your left hand closer to center. You can flatten your palm if you like. Right hand on your sacrum, lengthen your spine and twist to the right. Option to even lift your right arm up towards the sky. Keep lengthening your back, widening your collarbones, reaching through both arms. Great. Lower your right hand. Pivot back towards the front of your mat and then keep turning all the way to the left. Turn your feet to the left until you come into a straddle. A straddle where the legs are not crossed. Drop your head down like you're doing down dog. Walk your hands forward. I'm not so thrilled about this camera angle, but for the good of the interweb, here it is. Wide-legged straddle dog. Right hand now grabs the outside of your left shin. Twist and turn to the left. Look underneath the left arm. Stay right there. Bend your right knee deeply. And lean towards the leg that you can't see as you twist your ribs up and towards the ceiling and look underneath your left arm. And then release the twist. Come back to symmetry. Walk your hands under your shoulders. Take a breath in. Turn towards the front of your mat as you breathe out. Back to a lunge. Plank pose. Inhale. Option to Vinyasa. Chaturanga. Exhale. Upward facing dog. Breathe in. Downward facing dog. Breathe out. Deep breath in and out. Now lift your heels, inhale. Bend your knees, look forward, step or spring right up towards your hands. Lengthen, breathe in. Fold and breathe out. Rise to stand, inhale. Release your arms down and exhale. Take that little side step over to your left. So you're just near the front left corner of your mat. Start again with your hands on your hips. Bend your knees. A little chair pose. Without your hips moving, just lift your left leg. Set up a figure four, ankle to knee, and sit low. Keep your right hip in as you lower your seat. Options, hands to blocks, hands to floor, or get the triceps on the front of the shin bone and create this little pull push. So the arms pull back as the shin pushes forward. It's tempting to drop your left seat. Can you lift your left sitting bone as you pull your right hip in and sit really the unit of your seat down as you stretch your spine forward. Lower your fingertips, slide the left ankle down the front of the right shin till you're in this cross-ankled fold. Push the back shin forward so as not to lock out the back knee, and drop your head. The left foot should be right around the center of your mat. Step your right foot back, find a tightrope, which we're normally avoiding, but here, get right on it. Strange pigeon, tip the left knee open to the left so that the shin slides behind your forearm. Keep your left ankle really strong so that your left ankle has the qualities of a standing ankle, even though you're just on the outer edge of the foot. So root the inner foot towards the floor. If you did on side one, you can have your knee down, you can have your hands wide, you can move it around and be more dynamic. And then bring your hands back in close, work both legs towards straight, so it's that tightrope pyramid thing. Take both hands on the outside of your left foot, and as you turn to the left, turn your feet as well. So you're on the outer edges of both feet. Bend your knees, especially your left one, hovering Gomukhasana. Lengthen your back, wag your tail to the right. Further from here, optional, right hand down, left hand to sacrum. Pull the spine long and twist your ribs. If you can stack your shoulders, meaning left shoulder on top of right, then it makes sense to lift your left arm. It's really just an accessory, so no need to keep layering if the basic shape is working for you. And lower your left hand, walk to the right, find a straddle that's more enjoyable. So there's no cross of the legs. Walk your hands forward out in front of you. Take your left hand, reach for the outside of your right shin, twist to the right, look under your right arm. If you did on the first side, bend your left knee, that's the one that you're not holding, and lean back towards the leg you can't see. Find the center of that, meaning release the twist, find symmetry in that straddle dog. Walk your hands under your shoulders. Inhale, lengthen your spine. Turn to the front of your mat as you exhale. Step back, plank pose. Inhale. Chaturanga, exhale. Upward dog, breathe in. And downward dog, breathe out. Lift your heels, inhale. Bend your knees, look forward, step or jump. Top of your mat. Halfway lift, breathe in. Forward fold, breathe out. Chair pose, bend your knees, reach your arms up, breathe in. And then begin to sit really as low as you can. So sit way, way, way down. Use your arms forward as counterweight. If you need them behind you, use them there. Slowly sit your bum down. Walk your feet a little forward, but keep your knees bent. And then see how slowly you can round yourself down, so that you move through a C curve in your back and touch bone by bone the length of your spine. Eventually down, land your head. Relax your arms, bring your feet in a little closer. Take your feet as wide as your mat, knock your knees in, place your hands on your belly. And notice your breathing, notice your heart beating. And see if you can slow your breath, which is your clearest, most direct route to controlling your state. Slow your breath to slow your heart. And then, like you did at the very beginning of this class, take your hands onto your outer hips. Bring your feet back to hip width and parallel. And without your hips swinging over to the left, lift your right, bring your right leg into a tabletop and hook figure 4. Lift your left shin up into a tabletop. Reach your arms straight up towards the ceiling. Do wrist extension, so it looks like you're doing a plank pose on the ceiling. And really pull your fingernails down towards your face as you press the heels of your hands up, so that you create
as much active wrist extension as possible, aiming to get for the 90-degree angle that you would get if you had the floor beneath your hands, say in a plank pose. Then start to round your back, add spinal flexion. So lift your head and shoulders, lift your bum up, and see if you can bring your triceps to touch your right shin. If you can grab with your right toe as your left arm, you'll keep that as you straighten your left leg forward in front of you and lower it any amount into this sort of upside down Galavasana shape, which will be a right side up arm balance, perhaps. Then bring your left leg back in and relax the pose. Shake it out. Your wrists may want a little bit of circling. It's amazing how much harder 90 degrees of wrist extension is when you don't have the floor. Okay, other side. Hands on the hips so they stay even. Lift your left shin into a tabletop. Externally rotated to find a figure 4. Without the hips moving over to the right, lift your right shin into a tabletop. Reach your arms straight up to the ceiling. Do wrist extension, so raise the roof. And then add spinal flexion. Lift your head and shoulders, lift your bum, and see if you can connect triceps to your left shin. Use your left toes to grab your right arm above your elbow, and maybe you can straighten your right leg out in front of you. Galavasana, upside down. Bring your right leg back in, land your right foot, unhook your ankle, shake your wrists. Bring your knees into your chest, grab the backs of your thighs, start to roll yourself forward and back, get a little rock going. Perhaps you even rock up, cross your ankles, land your hands, chaturanga. Upward dog, breathe in. Downward facing dog, breathe out. Lift your heels, inhale, bend your knees, look forward, step or hop, lengthen, breathe in. Fold down and breathe out. For those of you who have the 2 blocks, grab them, place them on their highest height. And really, you don't have to have blocks. You can use anything that lifts the floor up, like books or little pieces of furniture. It really doesn't matter. Take your hands onto those props. If you have them, lengthen your spine. Put your hands on your hips and then stand yourself up. So stand about a foot or so behind the blocks with your feet together and your hands on your hips. Same concept of being on your back and your hips not wanting to move. Find a little chair pose, little bend in your knees. Lift your right knee up, externally rotate, find figure 4. Sit your hips low. Hook your triceps in front of your shin bone. Hands on the block. Stage 1, you're just here. This is a really wonderful place to stay. Pull with your triceps, push with your shins, your shin. And you can even start to lean a little bit forward. And you can, because the blocks are stable here, you can lift your left heel. That's a great place to stay. For those of you who want to arm balance, the blocks can go onto their lowest height or no blocks. Hands on the floor is also totally fine. Make sure the blocks are set as wide as you want your hands for plank or down dog. So the triceps become a shelf for your right shin. Hands on the hard surface, blocks or floor. Really, it's a weight transfer. As you lean into your hands, give your elbows a little chaturanga bend, and then it's a trust game. Look forward, lean into your hands, and lift your left heel up. You can most certainly stay here. If your right shin is securely there, fly your left leg back behind you, and extend the left hip high as you can. When you've had enough of that, bring your left leg back in, land the foot, and bring yourself all the way back up. Just stand on 2 feet, hip width apart, hands on the body or arms by your sides. I feel my heart beating quickly. So send a little more breath down into the abdomen. Okay, second side. If the blocks served you best on their highest height, flip them back up there. Hands on the hips, standing behind the blocks. The weight goes this time as you bend your knees into chair, into the right foot, lift your left leg, find a figure 4, and then sit yourself down. Get your triceps in front of your right shin bone. Hands on the blocks where you stay, where you lean if you like. Not arm balancing if the blocks are highest or even second height, but blocks can be low, or you can ditch the blocks altogether.
The arms pull back on the shin pushes into the arms. The left toes are really grabbing the right arm. As I lean into the blocks, chaturanga the arms. Keep looking forward, lift the right leg, keep the leg in if that's what's holding my left shin in place, or if I know the left shin will stay, I extend the right hip and straighten the knee fully. And then bring the right knee in, land the right foot. Step the feet down if the blocks are there, push them to the side, fold, hang, take the backs of the hands to the floor. And then from there, if you're not at the front of your mat, just walk a little bit forward. Step the left foot back. Widen the right foot out towards the right side of the mat and lower the back knee. Angle the right toes out to the right so that the toes and the knee are tracking out towards, let's say, 2 o'clock. As you take your left hand wide out towards 10 o'clock and then turn yourself to the right. Stay here or further from here, bend your back knee, reach with your right hand for the outside of your foot. See if you can bring your heel and your bum really close together. And then from there, perhaps you lower the pelvis in the direction of the floor. Option also to be on your left forearm if you like. But make it really spacious. A little twist, even a little back bend. Gently release your back foot without slingshotting. Lower both hands onto fingertips. Lift your back knee up, just switch. So step the left foot outside the left hand, right leg back. Lower the right knee. Widen the left foot, turn it out towards 10 o'clock, same with the knee. Take the right hand out towards 2 o'clock. Twist to the left. You stay or bend your back knee and reach for the pinky side of the foot. Bring the heel and the bum close. And then either on the right palm or if you'd rather, on the right forearm, twist. Release the back foot. Come back to your hands. It's different on this side. Step yourself back to a plank pose and lower all the way to the floor. You may wish to have a block or a pillow. It'll be for your head, close to your right ear. Take your right arm straight out to the right in a T position. Look at it and see that your hand is in line with your shoulder, or even a little bit in front can be nice. Push the palm flat, straighten the elbow, and lift the front of the right shoulder off the floor and keep that. Now see, as you roll over onto your right side, can you actually keep walking the hand away from you as you roll onto your right side? I just like to bend my knees into my chest. There's lots of different leg variations that you might enjoy, but this feels the softest, sweetest for me. My left hand I just have here on spidered fingertips, like the finger stand Cobra arm that you were doing. And see if you can really make it active here. Push the right inner hand down as you lift the front of the right shoulder away from the floor. And if you can, even lift the outer right ribs off the floor and tuck them more under you so your chest gets a little more direction towards the ceiling. Roll yourself back through the center. Move the block over to the other side. Take your gaze to the left as you walk your left arm way out in front, wrist in line with shoulder or a little ahead. And then as you look to the right, come onto right spider fingertips, and as you roll over to the left, keep walking the left arm away from you. Bring your knees into your chest, unless you have a different leg variation. Root your left palm, lift the front of your left shoulder off the floor. If possible, lift that left waist up and turn the left ribs more under you. Release that, come on back to the center. Place your forehead on the ground. Stretch your arms back alongside your body with your palms facing down. And like you did earlier, lift one leg at a time, make your legs longer. Press the tops of your feet into the ground, straighten your knees. Press your pubic bone down into the ground, drag it forward until you feel your lower belly lift up towards your lower back. Then, before you come up, draw your shoulder blades together so you lift the front of your shoulder heads off the floor, and then start to lift your chest up, your head up, lift your arms up, spin your palms to face in, but keep your collarbones wide. And you can certainly stay here or lift your legs up, and think length really of your toes, stretching back as your heart reaches forward. Bend both knees, bring your heels in towards your bum. If you'd like to grab your ankles, go ahead, Dhanurasana, and add a little kick back of your shins as your chest lifts higher from the leverage of your legs. Reach the crown of your head up towards the sky. And then slowly release your ankles, straighten your legs, come on down and either look to one side, or you can make a little pillow with your hands for your forehead. Shake your hips side to side. Just relax. Let the fronts of your shoulders collapse into the ground. And then come again back to the center. With your arms by your side, start again, palms down, lengthen your legs. Feet down, knees up. Front of the pelvis presses down and forward. Lift the fronts of your shoulders off the floor. Retract your shoulder blades and start to rise. Chest, head, arms, legs, palms in. Bend your knees. Dhanurasana. Shins back, heart up. Keep your knees hugging in. And then slowly release and look the other way, or make again that little pillow for your forehead. And then just turn yourself over so that you're on your back. Bend your knees. Land the soles of your feet on the floor. Bring your knees in towards your chest. Take them wide. Happy baby. Grab the outer feet with your hands. And again, grabbing shins or thighs is fine too. If you have the feet, pull down on the outer feet as you press the inner feet up. Lengthen your back. Think about your bum getting down on the floor as opposed to it rising up. Pin your shoulder blades down to the floor so that your chest is wide, and then just rock a little side to side. If it's interesting for you, as you rock to the right, work the right leg a little straighter. And then come back through the center and do the same thing on the left. A couple times. You come back to the center, release your feet and land your feet as wide as your mat. Take your arms out into a lazy cactus shape.
And with your feet as wide as your mat, drop both knees over to the right. And as they go to the right, think about the left inner knee lowering towards the floor without your back arching more to do it, so that you work a little internal rotation for your left hip. And you can keep it active there by lengthening the tailbone towards the back of your mat as you try to lower your left inner knee. You could also, if you wish, take the right ankle as a little weight to the outer thigh and encourage a little bit more inner spiral of the leg. But if that brings you at all into your lower back, just skip that. Certainly optional and not great for everybody. If you've got your ankle on there, slide it off. Bring yourself back to the center. Just have a little pause in the middle. And then go left. First, without the weight of the left ankle, if you are going to add it, encourage the right inner knee down without borrowing any flexibility from your lower back. And then if you'd like to add the left ankle as a weight, do that. And you can also give a little direction so that the ankle grabs the skin on the outer thigh and rolls it over the top of the thigh down towards the floor. Keep the right shoulder heavy. Tailbone lengthening towards the back of your mat. And slide your ankle off, bring your knees to center. Bring your knees really gently in towards your chest. Just grab the knees or the shins loosely with your hands and draw a few little circles on your lower back. In the other direction. And as you find center, you can stay there, or you can curl into a little ball where you lift your bum and you lift your head, bring your forehead and your knees close. And then as you're ready from there, release your legs and set yourself up for Shavasana. If you have blocks or a bolster or even a couple little pillows, I really love to place the blocks right underneath the backs of the knees. Allow your legs to flop wide to the sides. Make your arms off the sides of your mat so that your palms can face upwards. Give your shoulders a little bit of a tuck beneath you. And make all of your last final adjustments so that you are as comfortable as you possibly can be. And the first stage is really to find physical stillness. As soon as the body gets really quiet and still, you let your breath get super quiet as well. No longer needing to control the breath. Let it be soft and effortless. As you drop in and drop down, just let gravity take you. Rest. Please stay on your floor, all cozy as long as you like. Thank you so much for practicing with me.